Hello and welcome to my channel. Today, what I'd like to do is, if you saw the thumbnail or bothered to read the name of this video, the title, I should say, it's Beginners Turning. What I mean by that is I have what I think is the most important thing a beginner, turner, lathe operator, lathe machinist needs to do before they can do anything else on the lathe. If you don't do this, nothing's going to work. But before I get into any of that, about 6-7 weeks ago, told everybody I would like to do this monthly. Well, it didn't turn out. What I'd like to do is some subscriber projects, machine projects, shop projects. And as soon as I show people all of that, I'll get into the beginner's lathe tips. I don't know how many people out there have watched the episode. Let's see, the name of it was Subscribers, Machines, and Shops or something like that. I can't really remember, but that really doesn't matter. It's what I do is show some of the projects and the home shops that my subscribers to this channel have or have done. One of the projects and shops and equipment I showed off in that video was a man we call Fast Turn. If you read any of the video comments, you've seen him there. One of the projects I showed was by a man named Dwayne. He's from Oregon in the U.S. He was building a milling machine. Well, he had a few setbacks since then and has gotten back into it, changed a few different things, and the mill works beautiful. I'm going to show you some of that. And let me tell you, the reason he did this is actually not just to have a milling machine, but let's start from the beginning. Back in March, he contacted me to see if I did any outside work. I had to tell him, I'm sorry, Dwayne, I don't do that anymore. I quit shortly after I retired. And this is the extent of my work. But so he went along and he decided with the project he had, and what that was he had a mini lathe, an Atlas mini lathe? I can't remember, but he had a mini lathe, small lathe. And he wanted to put a larger cross slide. If you have a mini lathe, you know the cross slide's very small. You can't have much travel. You can't do much with it. The compound slide isn't that good. But he wanted to upgrade that and make this huge cross slide. And like he told me, I can't really do that using my mill attachment on my lathe. It's just too big. But he built this mill, and I'll show you some videos of where he ended up. And he built the cross slide, and he put it on there, and he started to think, well, I need to raise the head. I need a bigger head. Or he raised it 3/4 or 1 inch. I'll show you some pictures of that some photos of that too. And with that, he had to raise the tailstock. Well, it got into where he's got a 10-inch swing on this little lathe. And he's got this fantastic cross slide. Let me show you some of the photos he sent me of not only the mill he started making and then changed it up a little bit. He had problems with the small head. He used the drill press head, and it just didn't have enough rigidity. So he moved up in class. He put a larger, heavy-duty head on this mill. He also put a bigger screw to bring the head up and down because that seemed to be a problem. He put some devices on the machine to adjust up and back and side to side and lock it in place. And it turned out pretty good. Take a look at these photos. Okay, this first photo, what we have, this was his original drill press head that he put on his milling machine. This is the mill that he was building. He changed a few things. He changed the head, and the control box is facing down. I know he said he changed that. Here's another view, front view of his original drill press head that he put into it. And you see, like I said, the control box is facing down. This is his new head. It's not a drill press head because he says, and you could kind of tell, there's it's a collet holding spindle is the way he told me. And he changed the control box facing sideways so he can get at it a little better, I guess. There's a few other things he changed. If you could see the lead screw on the back of the mill column, he changed that out. He put a heavier one in there with new bearings and stuff. Here's another view of the new collet holding head. There's the two different, the one on the right, that was his original pillow block bearings that held his lead screw. And the one on the left, that's what he started using. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. This is a view on the back of the column, and it shows that brass piece in the middle. That is what he made for his, like the nut for bringing that head up and down. And there's the new pillow block bearings. This is on the mill. This is his left to right, side to side adjustment for the head to tram the head in. And this is in front. Yeah, I believe this is the front of the mill on the column to adjust it front to back. And then there's one here on the back. You adjust one in like a 4-jaw chuck. Goes in, one goes in a little bit, the other comes out, and adjusts it up and back, front to back. This now is why he built the whole milling machine. He decided he wanted to make one of these. He asked me if I could make one. I don't do that anymore. I don't have customers and I don't do outside machining. But supposedly he built the mill to make this. And on the left, there's his screw, half nut, dial. And see, on the right side of this photo, you can see the milling attachment he had for his lathe. Of course, that big thing is not going to fit on there. This is the cross slide with the compound slide on it. You see the little compound slide on the right side and the size difference on the left. That's what he was after, to build all this stuff. That's why he made the mill. Now here's his progression going through it. On the left is the original tailstock. Then he moved up to the one in the middle. And apparently it wasn't big enough for him, so he moved up to, I think that's a Atlas, a 10-inch Atlas tailstock. I'm not too sure. Here again is the original lathe. And that was the headstock that went through the tailstock there that he's used. And he didn't like that headstock. He wanted a bigger bore through the spindle. And this is what he ended up with, that 1.5-inch bore. With he told me what kind of bearings. There are tapered roller bearings, but I can't. Timken, I think he said. But that is, you see, he's got it all braced up, or not braced up, or shimmed up to match the height of his tool bit now with the new cross slide and compound slide. And there he has the picture of everything. It's not put together yet. He still has to build an apron. But there's the head, and there is the tailstock that he decided to use. But that's what he had built, and he's doing this all in his home shop. And he built his own mill to do this. Pretty cool, I think. You see, that is a beautiful Frankenstein mini lathe. I call it a Frankenstein. That's what other people have called my lathe. I guess that's because we're taking pieces and parts from other machines and adding them on there, just like Frankenstein. I can't believe that bore, 1.5-inch bore. You don't know how many times I wanted to do that to mine. Just rebuild the head and put a huge bore in there. But I have a forward and reverse gear inside the head that slides along the spindle. I would have to redesign all of that. I'm not ready to get into that project. But what I am ready to get into is one of the best, and I think it is the number one thing every beginner needs to do before they can make any parts. Let's go over to the lathe. Okay, what is this tip, if you want to call it that? The most important thing any lathe person, any person running a lathe, this, I think, is the most important thing you have to think about when running a lathe. Are you ready? It's not how fast you cut. It's not how slow you cut or when you cut or why you cut. It's the center line of your tool. The most important thing, if your tool is not on center, it's not going to cut. If it's too high, it's just going to drag on the bottom of the tool. If it's too low, the material is just going to, it creates a negative rate, sort of. The material is already passing the tool and it's like dragging. The only time you really want to have it slightly lower than center is if you're cutting off your part. But that's a whole nother lesson. What I want to show beginners is how to make sure When you first put your first tool in, how do you know where it is? How do you know it's on center? You don't really know where center is. What I do is I use my scale. Now, most guys know this trick if you've run a lathe. What I do is I put my tool in. Now, this is with any tool. I'm starting with the cutoff tool because I don't have enough tool holders. But I put my scale, my 6-inch scale, into or up against. Let's start from the beginning. First, I place a nice round piece into my chuck, place the scale between my tool and the diameter, and I bring the tool against it. Not real hard. And my scale leans backwards. That's because it's way too low. It's on the bottom of the diameter, which tilts the scale backwards. How do you know if it's too high? Place your tool in there again. Put it in front of your part. Slowly bring your tool against the part again. And it moves forward because it's way too high. It's pretty obvious, but a lot of beginners don't think of stuff like that. It's leaning forward. What should it look like? This is a tool I use all the time. It is locked in place right here. Lock it in, bring my tool against there, and as you see, it is straight up and down. After you get everything in place, a double check. How do you double check? That will get you close. The next thing you have to do, take a light cut and see if it clears everything across and makes a nice finish all the way across. Let's do that. Now, I think that is right on center. There's no little bump there. It's nice and flat. I think it looks good. Now, a lot of people probably don't agree with me as far as the most important thing. Your glasses, that's important. There's a lot of important things. Don't be wearing long sleeves that are going to catch. Don't have anything hanging that's going to catch. That's all important. Very important. But as far as cutting, you're not going to get anything done if your tool's too high or too low. So, as far as I'm concerned, that is the most important thing a beginner needs to know about turning. Okay, let's go back to the table. I know a lot of you guys that know what you're doing are going to say, no, that isn't the most important thing. But it is a very important, if not the most important, it's a very important aspect of turning. Without having it on center, you're going to have pretty much a lot of problems. People learning to turn, that's usually one of the first things. It's like, okay, how does my tool go in there? They start putting stuff in there and they start just hitting the tool. They finally get around to it after messing up a few things. But, and I advise anybody that's a beginner to just put a small piece of material in there and just start taking cuts. See what happens. After you center your tool bit. Okay. As far as subscribers go, subscriber projects, I think I mentioned before, if you want to put a project of yours on my channel, go to my email, themachinistbrain at gmail.com. You'll find it on my website, and my website, glennow.com. And you'll find it in the description. Underneath the description there's a whole bunch of links, and my email is one of them. Go to my email, send me some photos, or just send me an email and ask me how I'm about, or how you want to go about getting me photos and what you should send me. You know, any information you want, just, you know, go to my email and do that. And what I've been doing is send me some photos. I'll send you one of my new stickers. I'll send you an old one too. I'll send you a couple of them. But as far as this video goes, I hope every beginner has watched that video and now can line up their tool. And like I said, this video is a wrap. So I'm going to have to say, until next time, enjoy.